Good morning, everybody. Today we have our guest, Dr. Susan Campbell-Fournel. She is helping us discover the critical link between what you eat and how you feel is what Susan Campbell-Fournel is all about. She is former school psychologist, a trained counselor with 30 years of experience, who holds a Master of Educational Psychology degree from McGill University, and a critical LEAN health educator, coach, working with children, adolescents, and adults to achieve nutritional excellence has been her focus the past 10 years. As a consultant, she has proven stress management training. She has provided the stress management training programs for managers of Fortune 500 companies using the LEAN strategies. Susan was a guest lecturer at the University of Sri Lanka, working with graduate students during COVID. Susan has been a guest speaker at the SSF IIHS International Conference in Montreal, focusing on nutrition. The topic, ancient nutritional practice and current nutritional research, was well received by the prestigious group of the researchers. She was also the recipient of a doctorate of therapeutic counseling from the Open University from Complementary Medicines, Colombo, Sri Lanka. In August of 2014, she has served as a guest lecturer at the university, working with graduate students during COVID. Currently, she is completing her research for her next book, The Healing Foods of the Last Supper, hoping to be completed in 2025. So today we have Dr. Campbell, and today we will enjoy her knowledge about eating, what we eat, what should we eat. So, Dr. Campbell, the stage is yours. People are.
Okay. Thank you so much for inviting me to share my passion with your group, and I really appreciate the opportunity, especially in this world of today, looking at food and how it not only nurtures us physically, which our physical body is the house of our soul, but how we can connect with the food and our chakras. Spiritual nutrition, and let me get the slides up here for you. There we go. Here we are.
Perfect.
There, now everybody can see it. Good, good, good. So that's just what we've talked about, nourishing the body, the house of your soul, and really being able to connect. And in this fast-paced world that we're in, we really are missing opportunities to be connected with our foods. And the connection of energy coming from the universe really comes to us a lot through the physical food that we take in, because of the energy that is transformed energy from the sun. When we look at connecting with that energy, there have been many, many examples throughout the history of mankind where nutrition and spirituality are connected. And this quote I found so very powerful, that primitive man, before we had the rise of a lot of our formalized religions or faiths, worshiped that animal spirit that they were about to consume. They gave gratitude for the wheat grasses that they found. We see this in a lot of the hieroglyphics that are in some of the cave dwellings, that they got it. They understood that the sun was really important, that the food they consumed was a transformation of that sun energy, that spiritual energy, coming into the food. And so we go way back to looking at food and honoring it in a way that modern man is struggling. When the other groups, we look back at the masters, they really saw that this was a step in our path toward enlightenment. There are many of those paths, our physical well-being. So those nutritional teachings are based on the great spirit, whatever you believe in, loving us as humanity and trying to help us understand there are critical ways to eat that will nourish not only your physical your being, but will nourish your soul. And in today's world, these are a few points that I really wanted to make, that are more than just a physical body. We also are a spiritual source, that by nurturing the body appropriately and not consuming things that can interfere with that spiritual development and that spark in our body, and understanding that we need to take care of your house, you repair the roof, you paint the doors, you look at all the important things, you take care of your car, you get the oil changed periodically. And sometimes we forget about taking care of the body. And what's happened is that food has become a source of a lot of angst for people, in that there's a lot of confusion. Everybody's out there on the internet telling you, eat this, don't eat that, stay away from legumes, they're going to make you gassy. I mean, it's crazy that the information out there, you have to decide what is real, what's true, what's pure, what's good for me. And so we've developed in our culture today a lot of eating disorders, a lot of cravings were marketed to in a way that just bombard us, want us to have sugar, and those cravings are there. We have a fast way of life. You get up in the morning, you got to get the kids ready, you got to get this, you got to get ready to work. You grab a fast food item because you're physically needing energy, and not taking the time to really see that it's an energy transfer from the universe coming back and forth to us on a regular basis. So when we're looking at nutrition, it's that relationship with food that really is critically important. So from a scientific point of view, we want to look at things that are natural, meaning that you're consuming a radish or a pickle, which has been transformed to preserve in a natural way, that you want to have foods that are close to their natural state when they were harvested. And then we're looking at foods that are fresh. Interesting point here that within 24 hours from harvesting, foods begin to lose their nutritional value. And so if you can have it fresh and close to you, even if it's a little pot of herbs on your kitchen counter, and you take a fresh leaf of basil, you will have consumed some fresh food. So the fresher that you can take it in, and with our global world, we get mandarin oranges from Spain, and we are getting strawberries from Mexico. And this is that global market. And we think we're eating fresh, but really, it's non-processed foods, but it's after 24 hours begins to lose its nutritional value. When we look at processing, you want to consume foods that are minimally processed. And I mentioned a pickle earlier on. Pickle are processed with a vinegar, which is a natural preservative. And then your pickle is fermented, and it's minimal processing. With vinegar, it's not a chemical. It is a transformation of either a rice or some vegetable that is made the vinegar available. So consuming foods that's not as processed or minimally processed could be dry. A lot of people have food dryers. You dry your apples, you dry apricots. So dried foods, minimal, unprocessed or minimal processing. Now, I want to say, if any of you have questions, please, you can help me. I get focused on the presentation. I forget to look if anybody's hands up or whatever. Feel free to just pop in and ask a question. When I talk about clean nutrition, looking at things that have not been bombarded with antibiotics, pesticides, fungicides, that it's clean. The development of that food as it was growing in the field was clean. And then, of course, the cleanliness in terms of our ensuring that any food that's traveled has gone through a cleaning process. And the last one is gratitude. And not just gratitude for, let's say, the particular piece of corn or lettuce that you're consuming, but gratitude for the people that put their heart and soul into bringing it to the store, the gratitude for the souls that harvested the lettuce, gratitude for the people that sowed the fields and kept it growing in a certain state. So these are the things that come together when we look at an apple, or we look at a salad, or we look at even if you've gone to get some French fries, that you look at it's natural. With the potatoes fresh, I'm really lucky. Down the road from where I live are many potato farms, and they love to take a fresh potato and French fry it fresh. It's so good. And I'm so grateful that they have these little places, and they'll start to be available to us again come August when they start harvesting. So having that gratitude and keeping in mind that we will nourish our spiritual side with fresh, natural, minimally or unprocessed foods as possible, clean, meaning that they're pesticide, fungicide, not genetically modified, and that we consume it with gratitude. gratitude for everyone that brought us to our table. The person that prepared it to the person that sowed the seeds. And when we're talking about the time on the vine, I find this really, really interesting, the research, and it's mind-boggling when you think about it, that how much nutrition is lost. And I look at that fresh spinach in the grocery store and I think, oh no, it's not as fresh as I think it is. So we do have to be very cognizant to eat that, and you'll have best before dates on it, and really it's been picked. So it's really important that we understand how critical it is in terms of preserving the nutrient and getting that nutrient value. That foods, once they're off the vine, they go into a decaying process, not a ripening process, although we've been led to believe it's a ripening process. So just quickly, our wonderful, magical sun that transforms seeds and that amazing process of photosynthesis is that cycle of energy that we need as humans. And our primitive ancestors understood that. They used to worship the sun, not knowing that the sun comes from even a greater source, as we understand that. So when we are looking at food having a spiritual energy to it, we know that we're connecting with mindfulness, being really aware of that, appreciation, and love. I can tell you honestly, I did not love beets as a kid. I did not love asparagus, and I have learned to love, appreciate, and become mindful of the wonderful nutritional elements of the foods that were put on my plate. So today we're exploring that connection from the greater universe through the sun to our own energy field. And we know we have this energy field. We have an aura. And with modern technology, we've been able to connect with those energy fields. And getting back to the sun and energy fields, we know that color has a vibration. And again, thank modern technology for this ability to look at the various vibrational waves and know that each one of those vibrational waves has a role to play in the human body. If it has a role to play within the human body, it also has a role to play in the soul and our spirit. And if we are missing out on these various vibrations, then we are missing out in nurturing all those aspects. Again, I'm going to rely on some good modern technology that has shared with us. Carolyn Photography, they were able to look at the energy surrounding variety of foods. If we as humans have an energy field. Also, every living being has an energy field. Your dog, your cat, you pet them, you rub their tummy, their energy field is exchanged with yours. It's the same with the food that you eat. And what I want to point out here is the brighter the color, the more the energy. So when you hear at the farmer's market, perhaps, or online, that eating sprouts is good for you, this is one of the reasons. The energy field of those sprouts is powerful. This is a cacao seed, piece of pure cacao, unprocessed. And well, there is a certain processing even to get the cacao out of the master bean or the bean. But I wanted to show you this in terms of the energy, the power of that energy. Often people will say, well, organic, is it really important? Well, and I only have a few samples of the photographs, but in every photograph that Carolyn has taken, comparing organic, this one is an organic mushroom. Look at the bright, bright, bright energy field. And this is a genetically modified mushroom. Same with the broccoli. You can see the organic and the non-organic. And similar when we look at how we prepare it. This is, so any questions? I can't see, so I'll have to rely on you to let me know. Here's corn. And now we're looking at how you take something that's raw, and if you're cooking, preparing it, how the energy field is modified. So here, raw corn, and I can't say that I'm fond of eating raw corn, but you would get more of a nutritional, energetic bang for your buck as compared to cooking it. But corn off the cob is really good. I want to tell you that. One of the things about cooking the foods, the enzymes change. It just drops that thing. And the human body either can absorb food in a particular state, depending on the state of the digestional tract, through the whole system, from the mouth where you create saliva to digest, on through into the large intestine before you evacuate. So it goes through a long process and many opportunities for the body to assimilate and absorb the nutrients that it needs. And so looking again at the energy field between raw cabbage, if you can eat raw cabbage, it's wonderful. Or even fermented with a little bit of through coleslaw as compared to cooking it. And there again, looking at the energy fields of the mushrooms, the broccoli, and this is looking at cooking process, microwaving, and I've got another, really does modify the nutritional, the way the links are made nutritionally, and it puts them off kilter, so the body does not, they'll take it in, but it doesn't have the ability to be absorbed as readily as if it were lightly steamed or raw. The energy fields are. So if there's anything you take away from this presentation today, I hope this is one of them. that if you can eat raw, if your body can tolerate it, and as we age, we don't often tolerate raw vegetables the way we used to. I have a difficulty with iceberg lettuce, for example, and the enzymes in that and eating it raw. And so it's finding out what you can eat raw, eat as much as you can that is compatible to your um, digestive process, and you'll get as many of the nutrients, almost 100%. Steaming, and that's why we've looked at steamed broccoli, steaming your potatoes, steaming as much as you can, stir frying, which is just lightly. Yesterday I had most wonderful, lightly stirred spinach, warm mushrooms, lightly tossed red peppers in this wonderful salad. So if raw is getting hard, then you can just lightly steam it to help break down, but not losing as many nutrients. Boiling, which my grandmother boiled everything, boiled the carrots, boiled the potatoes, boiled the cabbage. And so a lot of the nutrition was being lost. However, she did save that water to make soup. So I'm wondering if some of the nutrients weren't just captured. But this is the biggie. And um, we've known for a long time that microwaving does modify the nutrient field. And so many of the nutrients are lost to our bodies for ability to be absorbed and transferred into building blocks of good nutrition. So, are there any questions to date? I'm just gonna check with everybody. Any questions or comments? So, the microwave, I'm just gonna go on a little sidebar of a story here. There was experiment done with plants, and there was one done with fish also, but for kids, we had plants growing in the classroom to show them water that just came out of the tap, sat there, and they were watering their 6 plants, and then they had microwave water, and it sat at room temperature, cooled down. And the plants that were only watered with microwaved water did not survive. Same way, so it demonstrates that something happens to water, and there's a wonderful presentation. I don't know if you've had that about water and the power of water and the molecular structures of water, but microwaving does modify it. So if you say, oh, I just warm up my water for tea, you're better off to boil your water and then make your tea the old-fashioned way. So microwaving is not recommended from the point of view of it's great for heating up a heating pad to put on your shoulder if you injured it. That's not a problem. But in terms of nutrient value, it's not as efficient. Okay, I just wanted to. Does anybody have any comment about this? I put this up here. This comes from Gabriel Cousins. He has a wonderful center out in the southwest of the U.S. and it's really has worked with people over many years in terms of looking at whole foods in terms of well-being. And he felt that activating the spirit is activated and then allows for the greater connection through the consuming fresh foods. So I know I asked you to come with some kind of fruit or vegetable. We're going to go through. When you look at this group of foods, is there anything that attracts you right away? The herbs, the carrot, the banana, the grapes, the apple, broccoli, orange, beets, water. I forget to drink water and I have to remind myself, or the pineapple. And I tend to be attracted to the apple only because I think it was the earliest food that as a child I was able to touch, hold, and eat independently. Bananas weren't always available. Zucchini, uh, most people are not really attracted to zucchini. It's not something that oranges were special. We only had them minimally throughout. Pineapple was exotic. So I'm going to invite you to go through a little exercise together on mindful eating, thinking about um, what we're consuming and being aware of the importance of that. So bear with me. I'm just going to go get my orange and I'll be right back and we're going to go through the meditation. Okay, I'm back. Um, this was just an example of, again, looking at the energy of a fresh apple. And so I am going to lead you through a mindful meditation um, that will hopefully heighten the awareness that we have in terms of not that you have to meditate before every time you consume food, but it gives you that little bit of an insight. And I often use this meditation after I've been traveling because we often just eat so quickly. So if you have an orange or um, apple or any other fruit, vegetable, maybe a pear in your hand, it's looking at something that we often eliminate from our thinking is that the sun rays do bless plant life. It's what gives the plant energy and what allows that energy to be transformed into what I'm holding in my hand. And so as we go through this meditation, I invite you to think about that fruit in your hand. Look at the color. Think of the energy field. If you were a photographer, the bright energy field around this fruit, whether it's orange or red or green or yellow. Think of the matching chakra. We'll get into that in a moment. If it's red, you're matching to the red root chakra. Sometimes we've taken a bite of an orange or an apple without having a second thought. Look closely at that apple, that orange, that pear, and see the raindrops that might have come on it. Think of the tree that it came from. So now close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Experience the fruit in your hand. Feel its texture. Bring it close to your nose. Maybe there's a smell. The orange. Do you anticipate a smell? Do you anticipate a taste? If you don't smell anything, that's okay. The traveling of the fruit may have eliminated it. So that's okay. What you are experiencing is important. As you connect with the apple or the orange, I want you to think of where it grew. It was on a tree. How did the tree get there? From a small seed. From that seed in the earth, roots formed. The sun warmed the earth, and the roots grew, and the rain moisturized the earth, and the roots grew, and a sprout came up, and the roots grew, and the sun came up on those sprout, and the leaves from the sprout stretched up further toward the sun, toward the warmth, toward the light, and the roots grew. And from that sprout, over the years, the sprout grew taller. It grew stronger. The sun warmed the earth, and the roots grew. And the sprout grew taller. And now the sprout had a branch, and this seedling became a small tree. And the roots continued to grow and take nourishment from the earth through the sun. And the roots grew, and the sun touched the first leaves on those branches and nourished the roots, the trunk of the tree. And now there's a little bit of bark on this seedling, and the tree grew. And over the years, it grew more branches. And then one spring, there were blossoms. Beautiful, beautiful white or pink blossoms. And the sun shone on the tree, shone on the earth. The rains came, the gentle rain, bringing moisture to the branches, to the blossoms, to the earth, to the roots. And the roots grew and brought nutrients from the earth up through the trunk. Feel it moving, those nutrients, out to the branches, out to the blossoms, and from the blossom, a fruit began to develop. And with the spring rains and the summer sun, that blossom formed a small fruit, the fruit that is in your hand. Yes, the fruit that was in your hand started as a blossom, a beautiful pink or white blossom, and the fruit grew, and it grew, and the blossom faded away, and the fruit grew. And the summer sun, the fall rains, and the cooler weather allows for the ripening of the fruit that is in your hand. Take a moment, imagine all the fruit on that tree. It was a neighbor to the fruit that's in your hand. And now the fruit is, how did it get into your hand? With gratitude, we think of all the hands that touch this fruit. Did you pick it yourself from the tree? We have gratitude for the person that did pick that, did put it in a container and touched it all the way to where it is now in your hands. Remember that as you eat the apple or the orange or the pear or whatever fruit you have, that this connection to the earth, to the farmer, to the grower, to the people that brought it to us for our consumption, their spirit, their energy have come upon this. And we are grateful. So just take a moment to reflect on our gratitude. Do you feel the energy emitting from the fruit? Do any of you have any comments or thoughts about what you may have felt during that process? Okay. I'm going to move on to the point where we look at each food and the chakras, since it's important that we nourish the chakras on a regular basis. And as we talked about earlier, each color has a different vibration. And so each food contains its own unique energy field. If it's a different color, it has a different vibration. So it's basically bringing harmony. We have too much red food, and maybe then we need to get that balanced out to every cell. So we still have a little bit of time to be together. And again, I encourage you, if you have any questions, to ask me about that. Um, when we look at the root chakra, um, we know where that is located at the very base. When we're doing our yoga poses, we're right there. It's the rootedness and the systems that are impacted by the root chakra, the large intestines, and that's critical in terms of nutrient absorption, just like the small intestine. And it also impacts the joints, the muscles, and the bones. So, the foods that can really nurture and the vibration for the root chakra are beets, dark cherries, not the white ones, the dark red cherries, black beans, um, dark mushrooms, cinnamon, um, chocolate. It's a cacao, and I will not. We you have to be careful with the chocolate because chocolate gets so mixed up with sugar. I'm talking about cacao, which you can buy um, easily on the market today. The pure cacao that we can take in. So just a visual of some of the red foods that are great for your root chakra. Then we move up to the sacral chakra, and it's orange is the color, which is between the solar plexus and the root chakra. The root chakra being red, the solar plexus being yellow. So in between those two is our sacral chakra, which is orange. And I have the orange, of course, and getting turmeric into your system is critically important. And the body systems that are impacted by the health of that sacral chakra, the bladder, the kidney, and our reproductive um, organs. So you want to really take in those foods, and I'm talking about orange carrots. They do have designer carrots now that are white and some are purple. I saw them in the bag the other day at the store. Pumpkin, and we think of pumpkin only in the fall, but pumpkin and some of those other orange squashes are good for nurturing the sacral chakra. Yellow peppers, it's really great this time of year. Oranges, of course. Um, uh, if you're going to have an onion, have the dark orange ones rather than the white ones. And then moving into the solar plexus, which is up there with tummy, your spleen, your gallbladder, that whole section right under the ribs, or including lots of yellow, like the yellow zucchini, yellow peppers, lentils, pineapple, banana, the things that can help nourish and balance the solar plexus. It just gives you some of the foods. Some of the light pears are great, good yellow pears. The heart chakra needs the greens, such as broccoli and kale, and not only the heart chakra, but the systems have to do with our arms, our glands under the arms, thymus gland, the heart, of course. And I found this image, which I just love, uh, of cabbage and seeing how it just really is such a beautiful image of how it can help both our heart and the yellow area, the solar plexus. So balancing that heart chakra, um, I often would share with clients that if you're feeling really angry at someone, it means your heart is really troubled. And go and eat something green, and just chomp on some celery. That's a crunchy food. Uh, we know that the physical chewing of something crunchy does help with dissipating and transmuting that feeling of anger and letting it go. So if you're chomping on celery, um, or having a drink with some lime water in it, all of that will help dissipate that frustration or anger, or um, uh, and will nourish your heart chakra and bring you back in balance. Any comments? Okay. Um, and even though it says the green foods contain a lot of important vitamins and minerals, every food does. And they're all different. And as different as their colors, as different as the vibration from those colors, as different as the nutrients and the minerals and the vitamins that come from that various colors. It's really important to think about balance. The throat chakra. A lot of people experience um, areas with their throat. A lot of it has to do that we are in a polluted environment. So our nose and our throat often get congested. But the systems that the throat chakra manages, our sensory, our taste, our hearing, our smell, and the key is the thyroid. Really, again, the master of all the hormones are managed in a way, if you want to look at it that way. So finding foods that have that blue, aqua, chicory, kelp, blueberries, things that will nourish the throat chakra. The throat is also where we have our voice. Yeah. And if you feel like you're losing your voice, not only physically, but emotionally in relationships, nourish your throat chakra and help balance that and feed that. The important element also is that we chew our food thoroughly, no matter which color of food we're eating, that we really need to chew and allow the saliva, which is the first step in digestion, to take place. So if you eat and then you sip water, you're not allowing the saliva to do its job. So then the stomach has to is missing out on certain elements that it expected that you would have chewed and gotten the saliva into that food as it went down. So you want to make sure that you're chewing thoroughly. And as I said, eating water foods that are full of, like the blueberries are absolutely wonderful to eat. And then, of course, we're looking at our third eye, which is such a major connection to the universal spirit. Feeling that third eye pulsating, nourishing that third eye. If you're feeling that you're having difficulty meditating and connecting with that third eye, I suggest that you look at some of these foods that might help open that up and develop and getting that balanced. So the third eye is critical for brain, neurological, vision, and again, our hormone system that is connected with the third eye. I love purple cabbage. When we look at the dark eggplant, it's such a wonderful added nutrient to our diet. And then, last but not least, maybe the powerful is our crown chakra. And that's when we need to think about regularly water, ginger, purple plums, lavender tea, if you can find that. It's suggested that you, I like lavender tea. If you're growing a small pot of lavender, you can make your own lavender tea. It's quite simple. It's fresh, just there, and a little bit of boiling water, and the smell of it, even smelling lavender, will help open and nourish the crown chakra. So if you have that lavender, fresh lavender in your room, it's a great way to get the smell through the nose, and a smell has enzymes connected to it. So lavender is important, and coconut. I think in so many ways, I did not appreciate coconut. It was not a part of my growing up nutritional palate. It was something very special. Again, like oranges, we didn't have it available to us. And so it was only on special occasion that you got a cake that might be sprinkled with some dried coconut. But coconut is the fresh coconut is such a powerful, wonderful food to nurture the crown chakra. And of course, it's connecting all of our systems and bringing in the energy down to the root chakra, bringing it up to the crown chakra. So keeping all of the chakras balanced is critical. And if through your physical nourishment, you can nourish your chakra system, you're going to enhance your life. And of course, water is critically important for all of the chakras, especially the crown and the third eye. So here's just a little plate that looks like a rainbow. You're going to have those every day, some good edamame, pieces of zucchini, oranges, corn, the dark red beans. I heard a lecture the other day, oh, you can't stay away from red beans, they're going to hurt your kidneys. Well, they take one little tiny research and try to scare people. Red beans are good for you, great for the root chakra. So are beets. So just be aware that right now in the summer, we can get fresh beets. We can get that were only harvested a few days prior to our going to the market. But today's world, the soil is depleted, so there's not as many good nutrients in the foods as your grandma and grandpa used to get. And so they've shown that there's a decline in the nutrients. So it's really important to, if you say, oh, well, I ate one orange, well, maybe you have to eat two oranges to get the nutrient value of one orange from years ago. So as a consumer, I then just invite you to think about these. How was the food grown? What seeds were used? We have a real problem on this planet. Someone believes they own all the seeds of the world. And it's really really not at all true. Find out who harvested the food. Was it child labor? Was it under free trade? What conditions? How was it transported? Was there a big carbon footprint? How clean is the food that you're eating? Okay. If you pull up to, and I won't name them all, but you know the golden arches and the red little girl and where did all the food come from? When we look at label reading, and this is really coming converse here in Canada, we have to have certain chemicals that are used to preserve a food on the label. We have to have texturizers that are a chemical that are put into food. Even ketchup has a texturizer in it. So that's a whole different workshop on reading labels and knowing what's in there. So I'm just asking you to be mindful as a consumer. Is in the food that you're eating? And do you crave it? And if you're craving it, what is it? Is it the sugar in it? Is it salt in it? They've put things in foods, processed foods, so that you will crave it. Again, looking at production, harvesting, travel distance, the carbon footprint, and I was introduced to an organization, and we have the slow food movement in Canada, but it's across the world. It's an international organization that was started back in 1986. Doesn't seem like that long ago to me, but long ago to a lot of people that weren't around at that time. But it was a protest in Rome, in the holy city in Rome. They wanted a fast food restaurant to be constructed at the bottom of the Spanish Steps near the Vatican. And so this 1986 group started the slow food movement. And their symbol is this snail. I love it. And they envision a world which all people can access and enjoy food that's good for them, good for those that grow it, and good for the planet. So, sustainable food sources, it means if you see that on a label or marketing tool, it means it sustains the individual, it sustains the family, and it sustains the planet. So sustainable growing systems are experimenting with new things. Are we running out of land? This is a unique, there's a pump down in this tub, pumps the water up, and it drips down through and nurtures the roots of these vegetables that are growing. I think it's just absolutely marvelous that someone came up with that one. I have, and you see the picture behind me, Tower Garden with the greens. And this fellow, Bill Clinton, when he was president, really got interested in some of the Clinton Foundation money goes to sustainable food systems. So this is just one example that it doesn't take a lot of dirt, takes less space, takes less water, and you can grow oops. You can grow the food that you would like. See, there's some red peppers back here, and I just wanted to show you. I don't know if I can get that to come in. There we go. In 4 weeks, this sustainable system that's being used throughout the world, you can grow vegetables, and it's a aeroponic system. There's a pump in this reservoir. All you have to do is fill the reservoir once a week with water and minerals. And this is what happens. It's time-lapse photography. So it's very interesting. So another way to get green in, and green is for the heart, avocado, spinach, and a great smoothie, a wonderful way to have a meal, um, get your greens in, and use fresh foods to nourish the heart. So I encourage you to take the time for mindful eating, to honor your food. Sometimes you don't have time and you think, oh, I can't do this. Just take a moment to reflect. Smell what you're like, even when you've got your cup of coffee in the morning. Smell that coffee, smell that, or your tea, smell the tea, engage all of your senses. As you're eating, small bites and chew thoroughly. Eat small meals throughout the day. That's recommended. 3 large meals can take a real load on the digestive system, and anyone over 45 now, hate to tell you, but our systems are aging as well as on the outside. So you want to give your body smaller bites, chew thoroughly, eat smaller meals throughout the day, eat a plant-based diet for your physical and spiritual health in terms of that exchange. So when you grab that cup of coffee or you grab that muffin, reflect. Think about how it got to you. What environment are you in? Are you slowing down to eat it? Don't eat it while you're driving or watching a game or doing a game on your phone. Be happy you made a good choice. Just thank yourself. Say, way to go, Henry. You made a good choice. You bypassed the golden arches and you made a better choice. Awareness. And there's also the acceptance that an openness that this is an energy exchange. And I ask you, are you exchanging good energy for your energy, or is it negative energy coming in? Make sure we've got good energy coming in. So nurture your chakras. And I thank you very much for sharing your time with me. And if you have questions and all, please let me know. Just unmute and
We do have questions, Susan.
Mary, do you have I wanted to ask her a question. Mary? Just Mary? Ask her.
It's a mirror special.
Ask before she leaves.
What is she?
No, she's there. She's waiting for questions.
Is
I did it.
pardon?
All right, let me go with the first question. Thank you very much, Susan. Susan, I have always been thinking on a diet based on vegetable fruit. Is it something you can recommend? And if so, how would we proceed?
To be on a strictly plant-based diet. First of all, there's a commitment and a why. Do you want to be more aware? I think the key thing is that we make a choice. Some people make a choice to be plant-based because of health reasons. And we know that it's a good choice. That the highly based friend of mine actually has taken on a total carnivore diet, lost lots of weight, looks great, but health is not about looks. It's about what's happening at the cellular level. Guaranteed, there are no antioxidants going into there's not an antioxidant or that comes into the body through animal product. There's none. The only way you get antioxidants is with plant-based stuff, like with the picture behind me or this or whatever. So when you make the choice with a conviction, it's really easy to stay plant-based. The key is getting the proteins and making sure that you're getting the right plant-based proteins. There are a lot of good recipes. One of my favorite authors is Dr. Neil Bernard. He's a proponent of a vegetable-based diet, and he's the president of the organization Physicians for Responsible Medicine out of the US. And another one of my mentors is Dr. Colin Campbell. He was the head of nutrition at Cornell University, and he wrote the book, The China Study, and looks at how the whey protein in the dairy is really raised havoc with the human body. That we are not, for example, so many recipes, we exported this sweetened condensed milk to people, and it's so terrible that the weight gain between the sternum and the belly button because of that sweetened condensed milk, that dairy and sugar combination is created a real health issues for. So we've exported our dairy, which is not healthy for us at all, but it's a huge industrial business. I drive down the road here and there's a farm that's operating 24 hours a day, milking cows 24 hours a day. When I was a kid, my grandfather had 2 cows and they got milked twice a day, and my grandmother made some butter. So all of that genetically modified dairy stuff. So if you can manage a plant-based diet, the key is getting the right amount of protein. And there are a lot of athletes that are vegetarian based, which I'm really just raise my hat to them that they did that.
Thank
So
you.
I don't know if I answered your question or
Yes,
not.
yes. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mary had a question.
Yeah, as one of my friends, she used to drink the chlorine.
Chlorophyll.
Sorry, chlorophyll.
Yes.
And yeah, she used to drink. I'm vegetarian, and I believe that even cooked food has a lifespan. I don't eat for 2, 3 days, but she used to have that, and at the end, she developed Crohn's disease.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what may be the reason? Is it okay to drink that or not?
Well, any of those supplements like chlorophyll or greens, or I've been taking a dried fruit and vegetable supplement for many years, knowing that I cannot eat the spinach and glean from it the nutrients that I need to because my body doesn't break it down. We don't have the digestive enzymes we used to have to be able to. When we were a kid, we could eat anything. We were full of digestive enzymes, and now I'm an aging car and I don't have it, so I need some things to help. In terms of supplement, there are a lot of different green supplements like chlorophyll. It depends on how they made it. It depends what chemicals are in it, because a lot of supplements have terrible chemicals in them. It depends on so much, and that's a whole nother workshop that I give on label reading and understanding that. So Mary, she may have been taking something that had an enzyme in it or a chemical in it. And they can say all natural, but in the labeling industry, there's very loose definition of what's natural. Even a petroleum product, because it came from oil from the ground, they call it natural. It's not. So I I would not say that the chlorophyll had any impact on your friend's propensity to have Crohn's condition. I would say more than likely it was how that chlorophyll was being delivered to her body. Like what was the medium in which that drink was suspended in? Um, uh, so that would be does that answer your question at all?
Yeah, more or less. But so we should not drink that kind of chlorophyll. Just eat
No,
fresh.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you're going to take a chlorophyll supplement or a green supplement, be sure that it's just a pure form of dried and the drink itself, how usually it should have a shelf life. If it's dried, usually is, of course, a dried green has a longer shelf life than something that's in a liquid form. So how long is it? Has it been pasteurized? If it's been pasteurized in a liquid form, then the nutrients have been destroyed because pasteurization is a high heat process. One of the real reasons why people want raw milk is because then they're raw organic, then they're getting good milk. Does that
Yeah,
clarify? Because
Thank
don't
you.
just put all of them in the same category, because you really have to look at the label, the freshness, what chemicals are in there that keeping it fresh. That's another thing that's scary. All of that stuff. So
I have another question. Do you think as we are aging, we should change to plant-based diet in comparison to non-veg diet?
well, breaking down the animal protein is very hard on the human body. And so I would say as we age, our whole absorption system from the mouth to the small intestine, the stomach, the mouth, esophagus, stomach, that's that section of our digestive system is there to break down. We chew, the saliva gets in, it goes down the esophagus, the stomach is full of high acid, which is needed to break down the food. Now, meat needs a lot of high acid. I don't know if any of you ever went to Moishe's Steakhouse in Montreal, but they always serve with their steak a pickle. Big reason for that. The digestive system needs fermented foods to be able to break down animal protein. So you need to take in coleslaw and kimchi and all of those good things to be able to break down any animal protein. But that the body just isn't designed to have a high animal protein content in it. So legumes are wonderful. If you have them dried I take a dried legume, pea powder and beans in a smoothie mix. It's what I take in the morning. It's already broken down. So I'm getting my proteins. I'm 84, so I figure whatever I'm doing, I've been, I would say I do have fish. I like fresh organic fish when it's available, and I love that. It's really, really good for you. But I avoid any of the commercial meats that are out there.
By the way, in this room where I am, we are many people, and the moment you said 84, we all were astonished. We were not thinking that things. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
here's to plants.
Yeah,
That's
we were
all I
shocked.
can say.
Yeah,
But
we were all shocked
Blessing,
because
blessing.
yeah, that's what
I
it is.
watch the dairy, watch that sweetened condensed milk it should be considered a poison because the body, but it isn't.
Condensed milk.
Very
They make
scary.
so much money on that internationally. It's huge. And I asked a friend of mine, can we start making recipes without that, to compensate? Can the sweetener, can we use honey? Because that's a natural sweetener, or maple syrup, which is I use all the time. It's great. So, yeah. Well,
Anybody, any question?
I would like to share an experience with you. I was in Chile a couple of years ago, and they did at the university, they chose to go and they did a study on honey. They went in some places on the shop, and they talk about 30 different provider of honey, and then they went on the lab. So some of them had the label natural, 100% pure and this and that. And sadly, more than 90% of those didn't even have 1% of honey. The one who smelled more and tastes more honey had nothing to do with honey. And
oh,
it was so sad.
yeah,
And then you realize it's very important, the importance of but not only the labeling, because the label is saying now you need it's like we have to also investigate or make sure where we go get our stuff.
exactly.
And those people, they have no shame.
Yeah. I'm very lucky. There's a honey house not far from here, and I'm able to go,
Yeah,
and you
that's
take
lovely.
your own container and they will put
know.
the honey in it. It's
know.
beautiful.
I
But
don't know.
Yes.
I know
Yes.
because we end up living in urban areas, food manufacturing has taken over because we don't have gardens. I think the last time anybody did any gardening was the Second World War, when in North America everybody had a victory garden. No lawns in the backyard. Every backyard was a garden, and it was called the Victory Garden. And so we're so removed from the natural foods just by the fact of where we live and how we live. And there are scoundrels everywhere wanting to take advantage of the honey market. Maple syrup, you have to be careful with that. I remember, probably 10 years ago or 15 years ago, people were putting corn syrup in with the maple syrup and canning it as pure maple syrup too. So go to a good producer. My niece's husband's cousin produces as Erabier, and so I get my maple syrup from there. But yes, we can be taken advantage of. That's right. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. My question is really about the protein. How much protein do the average adult needs daily? That would be my first question. And also, if we are considering raw food diet, in what vegetables should we go to in order to harness that amount of protein that we need? Because I sometimes do some raw food days, and I noticed that I might lose weight, but sometimes I'm worried, am I losing water weight or muscle? And
Yes.
sometimes I feel like I did lose muscle while losing the weight. So that's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, when we're looking at, it's two different questions. Um, the water is critical in the weight loss process. In when if you're looking to lose weight, you must exercise so you don't lose muscle weight. Often people say, "Oh, I lost all this weight," and you look at them and they've shriveled up because they've lost muscle weight. So, I walk with walking sticks because that helps posture. It because it's an impact with that walking stick to the sidewalk or to the road. I don't care what people think. Uh, I'm walking with my walking stick. I'm getting that muscle absorption in to keep my muscles and bones strong. So when we want to lose weight, we want to lose what we want to lose is fat. We don't want to lose it. We want to make it gone. Because if you lose something, there's an implication you want to find it. But you don't want to find it. So you just want to eliminate the fat cells. That's the big thing. So when you're looking at protein, it varies. It depends on, for example, someone in an athletic program need more protein. I would say we need about between 40 and 60 grams of protein a day, depending on your height, your weight, your age, and how much you're absorbing. So if you're getting that 40 to 60% in meat products, you're not absorbing much protein, especially the aging digestive system is not able to do that. But if you're taking the protein in with a legume, a beans, a dip that you've made, then your body's going to absorb it. So if someone's taking 60 grams of meat protein in a day or dairy protein, they may absorb half of that. Whereas you may be taking 40% of 40 to 45, 50 grams of plant-based protein, and you're absorbing most of it because the body can do that. And if you pass a lot of gas, that's okay. It's the best thing you can do. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I told my students at university, I said, you know what? We're a fart phobic culture. You have to pass gas. It's a normal process of the digestive system. And a lot of what North Americans and Western, they've been thought that can't do that. And therefore the diets have been modified so they're gas free. Well, the best thing you can have are the gassy foods, cabbage, broccoli, legumes, and that's fine. I'd be curious about the woman that developed Crohn's disease, what the rest of her diet was like besides the chlorophyll drink. So that would be interesting because you can't eat meat and then drink chlorophyll and figure you've done your thing. You have to, it's like and that's where I say, if you look at it as an energy exchange,
She was regular Canadian food eater. She was regular Canadian food eater, but now she is eating Ayurvedic food only.
Good.
And she
Good.
eats khichdi too.
And she what?
She eats khichdi too, because khichdi is rice and lentil.
Yes.
Lentil in a very large scale and just a little bit of rice. And she's trying all the Indian food.
Good.
And she
Good.
tries
That's
to eat,
excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the 17 kinds of protein she's
And
taking
tell her
care.
to
Yeah.
stay away from sweetened condensed milk. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Okay.
going to have to let you go.
Okay.
I really have enjoyed my time with you, and thank you
Just one
very
question.
much to
There is somebody
Thank
who
you.
wants to ask one question.
I ask only one question. I put my corn in the microwave for 4 minutes without removing the husk. It is better than boiled or I taste better. I think it is better nutrition also. I want your comment.
we in the lab they have been able to look at the nutrients, and
Yeah.
the nutrients, the microwaves
Yeah.
modify the nutrients. So it tastes fine. Even microwave something will even look better. But in terms of nutrient, you're almost better off to leave that husk on,
Yeah.
steam it or boil it,
Yeah.
and then eat it, and you're going to keep your nutrients intact. It's a little more work. I know the microwave, they sold us that it's easy peasy, but
Easy.
unfortunately, it has a modifying effect on nutrients. Yeah.
Does it make in water? I put my cup of hot water in the microwave, boil 2 minutes instead of putting in the oven and boil on the fan. It tastes the same thing. The water tea.
Oh,
I put a
the
tea
taste
bag
will
in
be the
the.
same. And that's a lot about what in life happens. Things can
Yeah.
taste the same,
Yeah.
but at the cellular level, at the nutrient level, they are not the same.
But there's no nutrition in the water. What is the nutrition?
And
No,
oxygen.
it's the microwave impact. It's the
Biggest
microwave
nutrition
impact.
engineer, Mister.
Water is food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say thank you, Dr. Campbell. We enjoyed your conversation, and thank you very much.
Yes. Okay. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank
Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank
Om Namah
you. Namaste, namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Mhm. Thank you, Mr. Jaslin.
Thank you, Mr.
Jaslin. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Bye. We love you.
I do too.
Yeah. And thank you, Jaslin's sister.
She's-
Okay, so you are finishing?
Yeah, I'm closing now.
Okay. Okay, bye. Bye.